Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, where each week I'm giving you tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do as you discover, develop, and deploy your own Black Belt leader within. Hey, I'm glad you're with me this week as we talk about leading from the middle. Now, one of the most dominant players in basketball history in the 1970s was Bill Walton, also known as Big Red. If you don't know Bill Walton's story, it's intriguing. He got his start under the tutelage of the legendary coach John Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood, and he helped UCLA win 2 NCAA championships, and he was named the NCAA tournament's most outstanding player in 1972 and again in 1973. Now, Bill Walton stood at 6'11", which was a giant during that era. And because of his height and his ball handling ability, he went on to lead the Pac-8 in rebounds, assists, field goals, free throw attempts, and the number of games he started. After a power-packed career at UCLA, Walton was a first-round, first pick, first overall draft choice by the Portland Trail Blazers. That happened in 1974. From there, he went on to enjoy an illustrious career, although an injury-prone career, for 10 years playing in the NBA. During that time, he earned 3 MVP titles, 2 NBA championships, and was named a 2-time All-NBA Player of the Year. Walton was considered one of the best big passing men in NBA history. Now, in 1993, Walton was honored with induction into the NBA Hall of Fame. His coach, Dr. John Ramsey, who coached him while he was at Portland, told Sport Magazine, Bill Russell was a great shot blocker. Will Chamberlain was he was a great offensive player. But Walton could do it all. That was an incredible comment on the illustrious career that Bill Walton had in the NBA. Now, after Walton retired from the NBA, he overcame stuttering, which in itself is another great accomplishment, and he embarked on a second career as a sportscaster. He worked as a studio analyst, and he was a color commentator for several major networks, and also was a commentator for several teams, and he earned an Emmy for his broadcasting skills in 1991. He was later named to the top 50 sports broadcasters of all time by the American Sportscaster Association in 2009. Now, what is not well known is the secret weapon that Coach John Wooden utilized to make Bill Walton become one of the most dominant players to play the game in the 1970s. That secret weapon was a young man by the name of Sven Nater. He was a 6'11", All-American center from Cypress Community College. Now, interestingly enough, if you look up Nater's background, he never played college basketball. But that didn't stop him from falling in love with the game after he moved from the Netherlands to the United States. He started playing basketball in college and became a junior All-American who caught the attention of Coach Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood. Now, interesting conversation took place, and it wasn't what Nater expected. Coach Wooden offered this All-American an opportunity in the form of a challenge. Coach Wooden told Sven Nater that, "Sir, you will not get much game time because UCLA already has one of the best centers in college basketball, and that is Bill Walton." But Coach Wooden believed that as good as Walton was, he could be a better player. But that could only happen if there was someone who could challenge him, who could push him, and who could stretch him to be better. So Nater's role was going to be to spar with Walton on the court every single day during practice. And as the two men daily battled on the floor, Coach Wooden could see that Bill Walton was improving, but so was Sven Nater. As iron sharpens iron, both of these giants began to pull out the best of each other, becoming dominant players in their own right. Sven Nater left UCLA as a 2-time national champion. He went on to be recruited into the American Basketball Association, the old ABA, and it was there he was named the 1973-1974 ABA Rookie of the Year. And after 3 seasons in the ABA, he made the transition to the NBA, where he played for another 8 seasons, 11 altogether. His accolades included being named a 2-time All-Star and a 2-time All-ABA player. And in fact, Nater was the only basketball player in history who led both the ABA and the NBA in rebounds. Now, after retiring from the NBA, Nader went on to lead the basketball program at Christian Heritage College in San Diego. He built the team essentially from nothing and ended up leading the team to an NCCAA championship title during his 10-year career as the college athletic director, basketball coach, trainer, and an algebra teacher. Now, that's not too bad for the first basketball player to ever be drafted who never started a college game. But as an All-American in college, Nader could have looked for opportunities to be recruited to a college where his talent could have perhaps earned him a starter's role. But instead, he accepted a supporting role that would be used to elevate another player at his own expense. Now, there's a very important leadership lesson I want you to get here, and I don't want you to miss this point. Not every leader leads from the front. Sometimes a leader is called to lead from the middle or to lead in a supporting role. This was the case with Sven Nader. But it's not an isolated event. In the Old Testament and in the Torah, we read the story of Moses. Now, Moses was a visionary leader who guided the children of Israel out of bondage from Egypt. Aaron and later Joshua served in leadership support roles to Moses. Each of them played an integral part. They were the Sven Nader to Moses, and both were comfortable in their supporting role, and neither one of them sought the limelight. Now, Joshua, like Nader, saw his own leadership ability continue to grow and expand, and he later stepped into a primary leadership role, leading the Israelites into the promised land. Once again, iron sharpening iron. Oh, by the way, does the name Dick Winters sound familiar? Well, if you've ever watched Band of Brothers, you probably know the name. Winter started out as a secondary officer in Easy Company of the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment during World War II. His initial responsibility was there to support his commanding officers, and it was there he built a reputation as a reputable, effective leader under pressure. He eventually rose to his own leadership opportunity, leading Easy Company through several critical campaigns, and he established himself as a celebrated figure in military history. Now, when you look at his role, his journey reflects how being a supportive leader can lay the foundation for independent leadership in the future. Now, another name you may not recognize is Walter Sisulu. Now, Walter Sisulu was an influential figure in the African National Congress, the old ANC in South Africa. He was Sven Nader to Nelson Mandela. Sisulu played a behind-the-scenes role in supporting Mandela, in teaching him about politics, in helping him understand activism, and he was very important in the resistance against apartheid. He paved the way for Nelson Mandela's rise while sacrificing his own opportunity for greater prominence. Now, after apartheid ended, Mandela became the face of a new South Africa. But Sisulu's role as a supporter and a secondary leader was crucial in Mandela's journey to front-end leadership. And what I like about Sisulu, he was okay with being the behind-the-scenes guy. He was okay with being the second to Nelson Mandela. He understood his role, and his role was to prepare a visionary leader to transform a nation. He was to be there as a mentor, as an encourager, as a guide, and as a staunch supporter. Now, Mandela went on to greatness as the first African leader of his nation, while Sisulu remained in the shadows, leading from the middle. So, what are the lessons that we can glean from these historical figures who all made a conscious decision that they were okay with leading from the middle? First, these leaders were able to inspire and motivate other people. They used their talent, they used their ability, and they used their life experience to mold and to mentor the people that were above them, the people that they were serving, and they added their collective wisdom and insights to their own. So this helped those that were out front leading fast track their personal and professional growth, becoming better versions of themselves in the process as they learned the life lessons of those who were supporting them in a leadership role. Now, these, what I call leaders from the middle, proved that hands-on learning and growth to the leaders that they were serving is very, very important. They help these upfront leaders broaden their skill set, expand their thinking, and enlarge their ability to engage in strategic decision making. Now, the second thing these middle leaders did was they helped those that they were supporting increase their adaptability and their resilience. Think back to how Sven Nader pushed Bill Walton every single day on the practice floor. Each session was another opportunity for Bill Walton to adapt, to modify his approach to the game. And because of Sven Nader's constant pressure, it forced Bill Walton to embrace change and innovation to find new ways to pass the ball and to score a bucket. But the end result was a dominant player who, according to his coach, could, quote, do it all. So leading from the middle is about helping those that you are supporting to see what's missing. It's about offering leaders a different set of eyes as they face the challenges and opportunities that are before them. Leading from the middle is about giving valuable feedback that contributes to that upfront leader making better choices and creating better outcomes. If we go back to the formation of the United States, it was Alexander Hamilton's supportive leadership role in the American Revolution that enabled George Washington to effectively lead. And once Washington became president, again, he leaned on Hamilton as the Secretary of the Treasury to help lay out the groundwork for the fledgling nation's economic policies. The insights that Alexander Hamilton brought to Washington were invaluable in the early formative years of the American Republic. And now think about where we are, almost 250 years since this novel concept of self-government was introduced, or as Abraham Lincoln so aptly put it during the Gettysburg Address in 1863, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. As we look at where we are today, we still see Hamilton's influence being greatly felt in today's political environment. So leading from the middle can have an impact that doesn't just impact lives today, it can have an impact that can literally span generations. So one last observation I want to leave you with in today's leadership thought. When you lead from the middle, you develop key leadership skills like emotional intelligence, resilience, and patience, among others. To lead from the middle requires a high level of empathy, the ability to listen, and the ability to pivot and adapt. As a middle leader, you learn to navigate your way successfully through times of challenge and crisis. And as you're helping the upfront leader lead, at the same time, you are honing your own problem-solving skills that will be essential for future leadership roles. Now, Sven Nader, Joshua, Dick Winters, Alexander Hamilton, they all went on to be successful leaders leading from the front. They earned the right to step into the next level of leadership because of the role they excelled in leading from the middle. But Walter Sisulu, he chose to remain in the shadows and saw great value in leading from the middle. So I want you to think about this as we wrap up today's lesson. Whether you're leading from the front, the middle, or the rear, leadership is still leadership. Today, more than ever, we need strong, influential leaders in all areas of an organization, individuals who are willing to serve and to support those around them, and to serve and support the organization as a whole. These middle leaders who are faithful where they are have the opportunity to be successful there, that in being successful there, they earn the right to be extended the opportunity to lead at a higher level. Whether they step into that role is their choice. They may choose to lead from the middle for the rest of their lives, or they may choose to lead from the front. But it's leading in the middle that set them up for that opportunity in the future. And understand this, even if you're leading in the middle or you're leading from behind, wherever you find yourself leading, all along the way, you're improving your skills, your ability, your knowledge, your insight, and your wisdom. And at the same time, as you're engaging in daily personal growth, you're becoming a better version of who you are and what you do. It's that daily unspectacular preparation that leads to the spectacular performance when the opportunity to lead presents itself. Coach John Wooden said it well, when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare. So every day for a leader is preparation day. It doesn't matter the role or the position. Leadership is not about a position. It's not about a title. Leadership is about influence. Dr. John Maxwell says it well when he says leaders develop daily, not in a day. Sven Leader, Joshua, Dick Winters, Alexander Hamilton, and Walter Sisulu are all individuals who understood this. And they chose to daily learn, to grow, to improve, but they also chose to use their skills and talents to mentor and train those who are ahead of them on the leadership journey and support them in that role. Real leaders develop the leaders around them, even if they're leading from the middle. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.